Hey, what's up, everyone? Sean Ingram here. I'm a public health researcher and health scientist, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I just want to talk to you a little bit about why retinol can be very beneficial for skin of color. Retinol is a very well researched and talked about ingredient in skincare. And retinol typically falls under a category of what we call retinoids. And these are just different forms and derivatives of vitamin A. We use these things in skincare all the time, and research has shown that they are very useful in skincare. Some of the things that I want to talk to you about today is just how can they be useful for skin of color or just for anyone. The main thing that we typically look to retinoids for is just their ability to be able to help us fight hyperpigmentation. When we have, those stubborn dark marks or when we have hyperpigmentation across our skin, we're always looking for ways to get rid of it or help speed up the process. And retinoids, they do a really good job of speeding up that cell turnover. And so when retinol is working down inside of the skin at the cellular level, it typically helps the skin cells shed at a faster rate. And so typically, the skin has a certain amount of time in which it's going to shed off those dead skin cells. So bringing them to the top layer of skin to shed off. Retinol helps speed up that process. And as we get older, that process typically takes a little bit longer for those old skin cells to rise to the top surface. And so that's why, as we get older, we can kind of see the hyperpigmentation kind of staying around a little bit longer. I know personally when I was dealing with acne as a young teenager, I would still get those acne marks, but they seem to go away a lot faster than they do now. It's because, again, as we get older, the research shows that our skin cell turnover rate slows down. Using a retinoid kind of helps speed that process back up. And another thing that retinoids are good for is they help reduce fine lines and wrinkles. Those retinoids play a big role in collagen production, and so we see alongside of retinoids, helping our skin cells to turn over, collagen production is also increased when we're using these retinoids, if we're wanting to continue to have that beautiful glowing skin that's kind of plump and firm, we definitely want to make sure that our collagen is constantly being stimulated. And retinoids do a great job at that. Another thing that retinoids do a really good job at is that they help with skin texture. And so we're always thinking about how our skin sometimes have this rough feeling, or maybe again, along with hyperpigmentation, we notice a little texture. If you're using exfoliants and those kinds of things, that can generally help with that. But retinol or retinoids are a great resource or a great tool inside of your skincare toolkit that you can use as well to help with that skin texture, to kind of help refine the texture of your skin. And it works by helping to unclog pores and reducing the appearance of these acne scars. And so it's helping again with this cell turnover. And that's going to help with the texture as well. With dark skin, we kind of notice that the texture, it plays a big part in what makes the hyperpigmentation stand out. And so retinoids can play a really good job at, again, helping that skin turnover and helping improve those texture issues. And so before I get into some of my favorite products that I still use or that I've used in the past, go over some of the pros for using retinoids. Helps fade hyperpigmentation. It helps with those acne scars. It helps treat acne or battle acne. There's a lot of research that shows that. It helps with improving the texture of your skin and helping to unclog pores. And I'll put some research articles that help explain some of these things below, but I just wanted to hit those things really fast. But I definitely, again, want to put that research there so you can see for yourself how effective retinoids are. But I do want to kind of give caution to using retinoids. And this is where I'll say that I encourage you to talk with your dermatologist, skincare health professional that's going to, be able to walk you through implementing retinoids into your routine, because again, these are just things from my personal experience, and I just want to make sure that I'm letting you know what the literature says, because sometimes people ask if they're even beneficial or they want a simple explanation, and that's what this is. This is just kind of more of a simple explanation and pointing you to what the literature says. And so I'll link some of those studies below. But some cons that the researchers started to see with implementing retinoids is sometimes there's a high risk of irritation. Sometimes at certain percentages, retinoids can definitely be irritating to sensitive or non-sensitive skin. And so that's just something to be mindful of. Sometimes it can lead to having higher degree of photosensitivity, and so you want to be careful with going out in the sun if you're using retinols or retinoids, especially if you have darker skin. If your skin becomes more sensitive, then you're prone to getting even more hyperpigmentation. Also, you'll notice that you might have some initial breakout, so this is what's called purging, and it's kind of more so where some of the acne or some of the clogged pores or some of the bad components inside of the skin are trying to make their way to the top and slough off. And so don't be alarmed if you see some of that initial purging. Again, these are things that I would say talk with your dermatologist or your healthcare provider about these things, because they'll definitely be able to explain whether it's irritation or if it's purging or if it's something more serious. And then I would just say be mindful of the cost. There are definitely a lot of cost effective treatments out there. When it comes to retinoids, I'm going to give you, a range of different, retinoids that I've again used and that I still use. And I would just say be mindful that sometimes they can be expensive, but there are definitely inexpensive and effective options out there. And so I do want to start with showing some of my favorite retinoids that I've used over the past few years that I feel like that are effective. There are different forms of retinoids. There's retinol, there's retinoic acid, there's gram-active retinoids. There are different forms, and so you'll see here there are different versions of retinoids. And they are listed in order according to their conversion cycle. So you'll see at the very top of the pyramid that retinoic acid doesn't have to go through any kind of conversion. It's already in its most active form. And then you'll see next is retinaldehyde. And so that means it's just one step off of a conversion. And then you'll see retinol, you'll see the further down in the cycle, that's where you'll notice that that means that it takes more of a conversion step, more conversion steps in order to be effective. And so if you start, of course, like closer toward the top of that pyramid, you're going to be using the more active form. And so I will give you some of my favorite ones. I've at this point have migrated away from using retinols because I wanted to use something that's more effective for my skin tone and for my skin type. And I've been working on growing my tolerance for retinols, but I'll still link some down below of some of my retinols that were kind of more beginner retinols when I was starting out. But I'll kind of jump to some of the more advanced retinols and retinoids that I've migrated to or that I've adjusted to. So starting off with the Grand Active Retinoid from the Minimalist. And so this is their Grand Active Retinoid 2%. This is a face cream. What I love about this is that it's packed with amino acids, vitamin C, and hyaluronic acid to kind of help with some of the moisturizing portions of using a retinoid. Retinoids can have the tendency to dry out skin, or at least that's what they do in my opinion and with my personal experience. And so just having a cream form of an effective retinoid, I think it's key. I love that they again use some moisturizing ingredients inside of the cream. I still would say use a moisturizer if you're going to use something like this, because again, it still tends to be drying. Um, Going up that kind of that pyramid is a retinaldehyde. This has been my favorite serum. This is the 0.05% retinaldehyde serum by Naturium. This formula to me knocks it out of the park. It's a gel like serum, and it goes on really well. I don't have any hyperpigmentation with it. Didn't take me long to get adjusted to this, and so I was able to work up to using it every night. Has been my favorite retinaldehyde. Without a doubt, I love this version of retinoids outside of now using tretinoin, and I'll get to that in a second. But using this has been amazing. It makes my skin feel like it's still moisturized. It doesn't dry my skin out, and I do think the formula is the reason for that. And so I recommend this brand as well. But if you're looking for a retinaldehyde, or if you're at that point of trying to step up your retinoid game, I also still use Differin. So this is the Dapiline gel, and so Differin was the first over-the-counter prescription. It was at first a prescription only drug. Now it's an over the counter drug you can get at 0.1%. It was initially launched as an acne treatment. And it's still pretty much prescribed as an acne treatment, but it is also used off label to battle things like hyperpigmentation and acne scars and texture issues because, like all retinoids, they typically help in all those areas. And so I have seen some results in my acne scars and my texture with using adapalene. And I'll say this about adapalene is that the form of retinoid that it uses is readily available and it doesn't have to go through a conversion inside of the skin. And so I love that you can apply it, and to me, it doesn't really dry out the skin either, or at least that hasn't been my experience. But again, it's because I'm really used to using more moisture or moisturizer when I'm using retinoids. And so that could be why I don't face it, but I would say try to get ahead of it. Don't try to wait until your skin dries out or anything. Always keep your skin moisturized. Or the last product, I'm really excited about getting back on tretinoin. Tretinoin has a wealth of literature when it comes to retinoids. It's considered a holy grail for skincare because it does everything and it does everything well. It's a prescription retinoid, so you do have to have a prescription with it, and so it's something that you would want to talk with your dermatologist about to get prescribed. But it does everything well from texture and hyperpigmentation and fighting acne as well, fine lines and wrinkles. There are so many videos of people showing their before and afters all over social media and the internet that show like why this ingredient is amazing. I'm excited that I'm starting it back because now I am using Script Derm, and I'm using what their Sensi-Tret, and I'm starting out at 0.0025%. I had tried tretinoin years ago, and I just did not have the greatest reaction. I think I started off at too high of a percentage, and I also think that I just didn't commit to getting through the purging phase. I didn't build up tolerance to retinoids at that time. Just a whole lot of things went wrong. And didn't know like some of the tips and tricks like the sandwiching method, all those things. So it was just a combination for disaster, or a recipe for disaster. And so just thinking about this now, if like now I know so much more about skincare, I know so much more about retinoids, I know what the research says, I look up like what are the most efficient and effective ways to apply it. And also I am now looking at, what are some of the easier ways to get, skincare, effective skincare ingredients. And I love Script Derm because their website is easy to navigate. It's founded by two dermatologists that really know what they're talking about. And if you've tried any of the other like online dermatology prescription sites, such as Apostrophe and Hims and all those kinds of other sites, you know that there is a benefit to being able to, have someone look over your health information and your videos or your pictures and send you, prescriptions based on your needs, because it's not always easy being able to get into your dermatologist to get ingredients that you really need. And so I'm really thankful that I was able to, use Script Derm and my now that I have this in my arsenal. I'm excited to, start the process of getting back on tretinoin because I do want to take advantage of all of its amazing benefits. I'll also link Script Derm down below. Definitely check it out. I'm not sponsored or anything like that, and none of these products are sponsored in this video. And so these are definitely just my recommendations based on, just my experiences and also what research says about certain ingredients. And so I definitely hope that you check them out. If you have any questions, about any of the products. If you've used any of the products, let me know. If you have other products that you would recommend, please put those things down below. I definitely will be checking those comments. Outside of that, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your time, and I will see you soon. Bye.